Hello, everybody. This is Paul Tinkle with 30 Minutes today, and thank you for joining us, everybody. We're going to be talking about our Weakley County communities and how they are functioning, where the future is, and more than anything else, how quickly have we gone to a different direction, or how are we doing? And the only person that I know that can answer all of those questions is the mayor of Weakley County, Dale Hutcherson. And Mayor, first off, let me say again, congratulations on where you are. You're starting a brand new year. You've been 2 years getting into it now, almost.
Yes, sir.
And I'll ask you right on the front end, do you plan to seek a 4-year term?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I've really enjoyed this position, enjoyed serving the people of Weakley County, and my hope is that they'll have me another 4 years if they're willing.
What got you involved in coming to Weakley County as the county mayor?
I always say divine intervention. Just because I've never had any aspirations to go into politics really prior to this. I've always been kind of a sports and law type focus when it came to career. And I firmly believe that God set forth a different plan for me when it comes to this. And it was one that was certainly unexpected. So I really just follow his lead, and I believe I serve him by serving our community and by serving others. So that's kind of what led me down this path.
You are an attorney by what you came to Weakley County back home for, and
yes, sir.
You started your business. And then the open of the doors that came open with the resignation of a very, very good Weakley County mayor that
yes, sir.
has been there for a little while too, and here you are.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, absolutely. And you know, those are certainly big shoes to fill. You know, Jake Bynum did, as you said, a really good job, a fantastic job, and I think laid the groundwork for us to pick up where he left off and try to run and continue to grow this county the right way, and to continue to serve our constituents the way they want to be served. So definitely big shoes to fill. I hope that the community and county will see that I'm diligently working to fill those shoes, and will hopefully make a mark that our people are proud of as I move forward in this position.
How are you going to be able to do all of this with another child on the way? Now, you and Samantha, I know, very happy about this. You already have one child, and here your second one's coming soon.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited about that. As you can probably tell from my face, and for those listening, I do have a grin on my face, which is because it's one of those you pray about, and you know, the Lord answered, and now we have another one on the way. And my hope is that the children we have, and not only our children, but all the youth in our community, I hope to serve as an example for them. Of course, the youth in our community is a big driver of that, because my hope is to at least assist in setting our county up for future growth and future prosperity. And the biggest piece of that puzzle, when you think about long term, are our youth and this next generation that are going to hopefully want to live here and carry out their business here and things like that. So I think about that. I think when it comes to my own children, it's just added motivation that I get to come home to and see that I want to make sure that they have a place worth living in as they get older. So I think that's how I'll make sure I'm able to do this the right way. You
are essentially 18 months, I think, in your, and when in that took place, did you think that this was going to be a different kind of job that you're doing, or was this one, well, this is too easy, or gosh, this is too hard? Where is it?
Well, you know, some of the things were expected tasks when it comes to the job and the role, but I certainly have had my eyes opened to just how vast this job really is. And most wouldn't know that until you kind of step foot or sit in that chair. And I'll happily say it's not, you know, something that's not worth doing. It's certainly difficult. It has its hardest days, but I think anything worth doing is going to be difficult in nature, and you're going to face adversity. You're going to have to overcome that adversity to propel not only yourself, but your community forward. And what's cool about this role to me is I have the opportunity to serve in a multitude of capacities as the county mayor. So I get to step foot in each and every community that fall within our boundaries and try to make a difference through servant leadership. And that could include setting up infrastructure so that we have potential for economic development, or it could be something as simple as going to a public safety meeting and making sure that we have the right protocol and mechanisms to ensure that our public is safe and that we have the most efficient and effective systems to make sure they're safe. So it's all over the board when it comes to this job. And for me, that's what I love about it. And I believe that's why God has blessed me with the opportunity, is because I believe he's given me the ability to manage those various tasks just because I think that's the way my mind works.
You're trying to, I don't want to say make everybody happy, sure, but there are 18 men that look at you.
Sure.
And they expect you to do certain things, mm-hmm, and you expect them to do certain things. Tell me about this county commissioner. It's going to change dramatically with some history, because we've already been told there are 3 or 4 members of the county commission, including, well, I'm going to let you tell them because you know who they are. But.
Sure. Well, to kind of speak to that, those that are deciding to kind of hang up the towel and
Jimmy Westbrook,
go towards retirement.
Been there forever.
Sure. He's invaluable. I mean, that man has, as I think all 17 other commissioners will tell you, he has forgotten more than most will learn in that role. And that speaks not just to Commissioner Westbrook as a commissioner, but also as a person. He knows the ways of local government. He knows the ways of the people and how to serve the people appropriately. And he's going to be greatly missed on this commission. And the good side about Commissioner Westbrook is he also, I believe, believes in setting up future generations for success. And I believe every move he's made has done that for whoever does step into that role next. And I believe the same can be said for all those commissioners that are choosing to maybe step down and move on with their lives in different directions.
I know Larry Taylor has made an announcement, kind of amongst a community, but he knows it's time to let somebody else to take his seat.
Yes, sir. And again, another fine example of someone who's been committed to public service and servitude of his community for decades. And as you mentioned, they won't be the only two. Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Westbrook.
Well, we're hearing several others that are going to step down.
That's right. And it's one of those that I'm waiting to see who really doesn't decide to pick up a petition and who does. But I do want those that are on the fence about it to know that you're valued. I value every one of our commissioners because they've welcomed me with open arms, and they've been willing to work with me to try to move our county forward in the right direction. And while there may be certainly disagreements on how we go about achieving the same goal, everybody seems to have the same common goal of making Weakley County a better place. And it's hard to replace that, when it comes to the mentality and approach on a day-to-day basis, mm-hmm, with budget or economic development, you name it. So everybody on that commission is valued to me. Mm-hmm. And I loved working with them, mm-hmm, as a whole, and I will look forward to working with whoever's next, certainly. And my hope is that we've set the right example the past couple of years on how to conduct county business and how to do it in a way that's not only good for us in that room, but most importantly, it's beneficial to the 34,000 people that live in Weakley County.
How many went to vote in your election? Do you recall it?
I think it was several thousand. I want to say over 5,000, if I recall correctly.
When you came in, you intended to be on the Republican ballot, and then because of some changes that were melted out in one way or another, and then you became an independent and you won that election. Do you think you'll be an independent again, or will you, in fact, go in as a Republican? Where do you stand on that?
Sure. So I picked up a petition for the Republican primary, and that's what I intend to run as. Because as I think I said a multitude of times during my last campaign, I am a Republican who's been forced to run as an independent. Mm-hmm. And I stand by that because, mm-hmm, at the end of the day, that's in accordance with my personal values. That's kind of where they lie. And that's just as a voter or as a constituent or as a leader. And of course, while at the same time making sure when I'm in this seat, I represent everybody, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, not just independents. I'm for everybody in this county, regardless of your view. But I do intend on running in the Republican primary because that's where my values lie.
If you just joined us, we're talking with the mayor of Weakley County, Dale Hutcherson. Tell me why, and this is, please know, I'm just repeating this, okay?
Sure.
Why aren't there more women in politics? Particularly, why aren't there women on the county commission?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I mean, that's been out there, and people have went through this a number of times. I know that women can make a difference as well. Tell me I'm right.
No, you're absolutely correct. Women can absolutely make a difference. And from my perspective, any person, woman, man, if you want to pick up a petition and run, that is highly encouraged for me, because as long as it's in your mind to make Weakley County a better place, it doesn't matter to me where in the equation you fall there, as long as you want to make Weakley County a better place and serve your people and listen to your people. So the why, I guess, comes down to, I don't know if there's been anybody that's been interested to run yet, but if there is, I highly encourage you to do so.
By February 19th, I believe is that. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Especially if you see that as an important piece of your representation as someone that was interested in this world, in this area that we call politics. Please, by all means, stand up for your communities and stand up for your districts to do what you want to do when it comes to serving your people. So there's definitely no discouragement on that end. It's just a matter of, if there's someone interested, then by all means,
go to the Election Commission office, Administrator Alex Britt, and he will give you, or staff will give you, a piece of paper that tells you how to go about qualifying for a position in Weakley County.
That's right.
Let's move forward here for just a couple of moments on a matter that seems to be what I think is the best thing that can happen in Weakley County or at any county across the state. And we're talking about trying to look forward for the future. And in some cases, it's not 10 years or 20 years. It needs to be further out.
That's right.
Now, I'll be dead probably by the time, 30 gets around. But the big picture to all of this is you've got to look ahead to see what is needed in the communities that we have.
Yes, sir. That's right. And, I kind of tell you a personal philosophy I picked up early on. I remember going in this, I promise this will relate back to your question. I remember being a high school senior and going through the recruitment process with a bunch of football coaches across the country. And I'll never forget, one of the coaches told me, wherever you decide to go next, this is not a 4-year decision. It's a 40-year decision. And that stuck with me. And that's a mentality I hope to carry on when it comes to really everything we do, especially, let's say, from a county government perspective. Everything we do today should positively affect us 40 years or 50 years down the line. It is the way I see it and the way I read it. And my hope is that outlasts me, it outlasts you, it outlasts even our children, because that means we've done it the right way. We've set forth the correct infrastructure to ensure positive growth and growth in the way that our constituents want it. So that piece of the puzzle is vitally important to me. And I believe you've seen in the past 2 years, and you will see come to fruition, several infrastructure projects trying to make sure that we're laying the groundwork for potential and future growth in the future.
I would say that Speaker Ned McWhorter laid the foundation, because infrastructure, more than anything else, that is what you have to have. And the second part of that is schools. And there's a challenge right there for the future. So let's talk about education and what Weakley County might be looking like in the next 10 years, 20, or maybe it may take a little bit longer, maybe not.
Sure. That's absolutely right. I mean, as you said, Governor McWhorter laid the groundwork for a lot of the infrastructure we have here through, especially the highway system. We have major highways run through Weakley County because he knew the importance of having those modes of transportation in rural communities, because they're often forgotten, right? And I see our school system in a very similar way. I think that's a great point you bring up about our schools, because when you think infrastructure, generally people think roads. They may think, setting up a pad-ready site to bring in a new industry. And those are pieces of infrastructure. But the reality is the next generation is also an infrastructure piece, making sure that we have our youth going through our school system adequately prepared for the next phase of life, because they will be running this ship after you're gone and after I'm gone. And to me, that's the most critical piece of infrastructure, is investing in our schools and our children. And that includes everything from the safety of our children, which is priority one, to making sure that they have the curriculum that fits and holds our values when it comes to our hometowns and our home county, and the way of life that we appreciate having here. And I do believe that we've done that as a county. We've made sure to invest in our Weakley County schools to the nth degree, and I believe we'll continue to do so. And we have obviously a great school system with such high rankings as they have in the state, which is really unheard of from other rural communities. And it's a large credit due to the leadership we have with Weakley County Schools, not only the school board, but our director of schools, Jeff Couples, as well as his entire administration team over there in the school board. And then further down the line, we have excellent teachers that are dedicated to their craft and dedicated to each student. Mm-hmm. And not only that, dedicated to each student in each community, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I believe that separates us from the rest of the state.
So where do you see us in 20 years, 30? I know Dresden's working on a project, sure, and I guess all of the others will have to or should do.
They are. And just to speak to that, Dresden, Gleason, Greenfield, Sharon, and Martin were all involved in this initial meeting involving what we're calling a strategic plan or a master plan for future growth. But I think when we lay the groundwork through things like a strategic plan, 20 years from now looks much different in a good way than if we don't implement that strategic plan. And we're doing that by way of help through state resources and things like that.
So you really don't know what we need until you look over the bigger picture and to say, looks like we're going to have to need this. And it may be a helicopter pad. Sure. I'm just throwing something up, but but you're in a position to suck it up, so to speak, so that you can share that information to the county commission. Because when it comes right back down to it, the county has got to have a plan too. The bigger plan is the county.
That's exactly right. And that really is, when you boil down what my role is, that's one of the key components, is making sure I'm a conduit for the people to the commission to reflect what the needs and wants of the people are, right? So I want to make sure that I serve as that conduit to the commission, showing what the pulse of our community is. And that's going to hold true for every single municipality, every single rural area and rural community in our county. And that's the ultimate plan. And, you've probably already seen in the past year and a half or so, surveys that go out, and it's community surveys that are just asking basic questions about, what do you want to see in this community? What are improvements? What do you like? What do you dislike? And we do plan on moving forward with making sure that process is more transparent with all people in all communities in Weakley County, because the beauty of Weakley County is each municipality has their own identity, and we want to hear from each individual identity within those municipalities to make sure that we're basically fitting right with the desires of each community.
Weakley County Mayor Dale Hutcherson is our guest. Is there going to be a tax rate increase this coming July?
I'm not sure. I think that's yet to be seen. There are certainly additional expenditures that are going to have to be made when it comes to state mandates.
And listen, a lot of educators. Let's start with that right there.
That's right. Yeah. So the state mandate, as you well know, and I think most that have paid attention to that issue, is $50,000 minimum for teachers across the board.
Teachers got a raise.
That's right. And it's required by the state. We have no choice as counties but to get them to that $50,000 mark. That year's coming up. So we have to make sure that we meet that state mandate. And then on top of it, if you ask, and this is where the rubber hits the road when it comes to arguments you'll see coming down the line, is you're going to see our director of schools certainly advocate for his teachers to have a competitive salary, not just meeting state minimums, but something that he can make sure that he can go and recruit high quality educators to come to Weakley County schools. And so he would ask for, I'm sure from his seat, more than the minimum. But on the same front, the rub on the commission side is we want to make sure we're saving taxpayer money and taxpayer dollars and spending effectively and efficiently. So they might argue for less than what Director Couples asked for when it comes to those salaries, which is a very fair argument, because on one, we want to make sure we're spending tax dollars wisely, protecting the taxpayers. Jeff Couples' whole job on his other side is I want to make sure I have high quality educators. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I retain those educators. So that's, a factor.
I have heard that daycare center for educators. Now,
Sure.
Tell me about that.
So that's a good question. So childcare, as I'm sure you know as well, and this is really across the state, is a problem that needs to be addressed in one form or fashion. And it's a childcare shortage is what the problem is ultimately. And I think any parents, especially young parents going through that childcare age with their children, will tell you they've been on a waiting list at XYZ daycare for a year and a half. And that's a pretty uniform problem across the board in Weakley County amongst the demographic that has small children. And I think that's really holds true in any rural community in Tennessee. And one of the proposals that's been put out there was, well, if Weakley County schools can help provide some form of child care, is that a viable option? And that's been the question posed. Now that's up for debate. And I think there's merit to both sides of an argument there.
But then there's the one factor, it's called cash. How much?
That's right.
There's a lot of money that'll have to go into that.
That's right. And that's a big deal. Cash and liability are the two big questions that pop up from our commission.
If you got somebody else's baby and the county is responsible for a child,
that's
for
right.
child care.
Yeah, yes, sir. Potentially, if you go about it in a certain way. Now, to me, the key is figure out answers to those questions on the front end so they know what direction to head. So if it's not a viable option, especially from the perspective of a Weakley County taxpayer, well, then you obviously know where the commission's going to stand on that issue. However, if there's alternative solutions that don't involve using taxpayer dollars, especially in excess, or doesn't put the county in a situation where they take on unnecessary liability, then by all means, let's figure out a way to get that done. And one of those ways that we've been pursuing and looking at is public-private partnerships with entities that know the child care game, for lack of a better term, to a large degree. And, one has been that we've discussed, and I'll be very openly, we've discussed possibilities with YMCA because they understand what goes into running a child care facility. I know that they've had discussions with various community leaders just to see if it's a viable option. And if that's the case, then it may be of no cost to the taxpayer at all if an institution like a YMCA could come in and help that. And the reality is, according to the state numbers I've seen recently, we are in a child care desert. So it's not like it's not a legitimate issue. And it's an issue worth addressing. But how we go about addressing that is the ultimate question.
Let me give you a couple of moments. Obviously, you have a couple of things that you would maybe wish to share with us or something that you're aware of, but we
Sure.
do know that there is a temporary circuit court clerk person that is in the courthouse.
Sure.
And that person also is expected to do all of the things that the county commission expects. And,
right.
Knowing that there are times when you have to go and make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, sometimes you have to deal with various people that work or serve for the county.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are working for Weakley County? What's on the payroll for these number of people? You've got school and you've got county roads and all of these. And by the way, I understand that the road supervisor has made a decision
Sure.
not to seek reelection.
Yes, sir. So, well, you're talking hundreds of employees, when it comes to the county overall. I don't have the exact number at the top of my head, but it's a very high
I think
volume.
it's about 900 just for school, just for education.
Yes, it's a high number. It may be into the thousands, or I guess over 1,000.
I may be incorrect. Weakley County may either be number 2 or number 3 because you have Stanley Black and Decker is number 1, and it's either UT Martin, Weakley County, or Weakley County and UT Martin.
Right.
Education is, I think, the number those people that are in school. We're talking specifically about teachers and so forth. Sure. I think that is the number 1 in Weakley County.
Sure.
I don't have that, but that's close.
Yes, it's definitely up there. I'd say a top 5 employer in Weakley County, certainly. And kind of to speak to our road superintendent, Jeff Cosby, he has been excellent.
I love that guy.
Yes, sir.
Super. He's been great to make sure that he works with the school buses and the teachers and the superintendents and the Weakley County mayor and the radio. Yeah. I mean, he's that guy that has to look at over all of the bridges.
Sure.
And for Pete's sake, the safety of all of these people that drive, and whoever receives that opportunity to become the next Weakley County road supervisor. I mean, that person does a lot for Weakley County.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I hope our constituents will see that position is vitally important, because, a lot of what you deal with day to day, you drive on Weakley County roads, right? And it's certainly of utmost importance. And I know Director Cosby, well, I'll say Director, Superintendent Jeff Cosby, took that job to heart when he stepped into office, and he's been a pleasure to work with because he not only cares about our roads, but he cares about the taxpayer and his spending too.
Let me take you to one more thing. I understand that the courthouse got $500,000
yes,
for what purpose?
Yes, sir. So it's a historical grant for courthouses specifically, and we were one of only a few really across the state to get that done. And that's thanks. I played a small role in it, but the real credit goes to really a lot of our courthouse officials, and that includes every department head you see in that courthouse. Melinda Parm, who is our communications director and my executive assistant, who does an excellent job, not only in day-to-day operations, but she has taken on the role of facilitating and working to acquire grants that will help Weakley County long-term. And it certainly takes a major cost off the taxpayer because everything that we applied for within that grant were absolute necessities. Because our court has to be, ADA compliant. It has to be compliant with fire codes, and it has to be compliant in various regards. So it's money that was going to have to be spent regardless. We just found a way to get that job done without doing it on the backs of Weakley County taxpayers.
When's all that going to start?
So we have a webinar coming up in early February to go over the ins and outs of grant requirements. So we'll kind of learn more about the rules of that in about a month or less, and then it'll go into our general fund. And I also would like to say a huge amount of credit on this goes towards Representative Tandy Darby, who was vital in making sure that we had the information we needed from the state side, as well as our Northwest Tennessee Development District, who was instrumental as well when it came to the grant application and making sure we were abiding by the rules of the application.
Thanks so much for coming in today, Mayor, and I appreciate your candidness because you don't hold back, and I appreciate that. And the second thing is I know that you're working out in the community. You may not be in the courthouse, but I do know that you're somewhere in Weakley County pretty much every day.
Yes, sir, always.
Just like he is today here on our 30 Minutes program. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you.
That's Dale Hutcherson, Mayor of Weakley County. This is Paul Tinkle, pre-recorded. Thanks for listening, everybody.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.